Zachary Futon. And next on the list, you probably never heard of it, but I saw it at the indie theater. Love, Antosha. It's the film documentary of Anton Yelchin. Pretty sure I'm saying his name right. Anton Yelchin, yeah, who died tragically when a Jeep ran into him. Basically, a freak accident. The Jeep coming out of the park and running him over and clipping him against his own fence in his yard. But this is basically his life story about his parents and everything. But I'm getting way into it. Intro, please. Alright, so Love, Antosha. What's it about? Well, I kind of already said it before the intro, but yeah, Antosha is his real name that he came from Russia. His parents are Russian figure skaters who decided, you know what, Soviet Union is happening. We need to move to America for a better life for our son. Came to America, success story. Interviewing J.J. Abrams, Simon Pegg, Chris Pine, Jennifer Lawrence, Kristen Stewart. There's a lot of people he had movies with back in the days, and so, like John Voight was in this movie, and Nicolas Cage was basically the one narrating this movie. You're like, what Nicolas Cage movie was it? And he's like, oh yeah, Dying with the Light. And of course, they had other directors in this movie of like how he did his style and everything else. Well, it's just an interesting movie that they actually decided to do because a lot of actors die. They don't make documentaries, but this one they decided to do just because of his past and his medical CF, which is cerebral fibrosis. I want to say what it's called. It's where you have mucus that's built up in your lungs. And it's a lot harder to breathe, so it's kind of interesting. Some of the coughs you hear him in movies, it's not because it's acting, it's because he had a cough because of the mucus built up in his lungs. And that makes you think, what a freak accident, like he needed breathing exercises every day to just, breathe normally, and a Jeep runs him over, basically pinning him against a metal bar. Like, that's the way to go, man. It's like freak accident 101 right there. And even Chris Pine kind of says, like, really, that's how he's going to go? He has SRCSCF, and that's the way? Like, it's like, what are the chances? Like, it's 1,000 million trillion to 1. But it's basically the whole, his parents and everything like that. And it's a touching story. It's a good movie to watch. Like, it's hard to recommend it because it is sad. And there's some weird imagery of, like, what he did in Beverly Hills. And even, like, Chris Pine's like, yeah, I'm all out there, but some of the stuff he did when he was like, 3 a.m. in Hollywood with his camera is really weird. And there are some really weird pictures in this movie because it turns on a flash of like, oh, he was taking pictures of this. And it was awkward. But you got into insight of like him writing in his journal, his notebooks, his diary of how he's thinking. And, it just when you watch this movie and when you read what he's talking about and you just see his path, he looks like one of the good guys. He doesn't look like of course, he did some drugs and everything just because I'm not really a drug person, but he did it. And then he realized, oh, snap, I have this disease. I need to get my stuff together. Like, no more drugs for me. Like, I just need to get my life together because you know what? I'm having a great life. And my parents came from Russia and he was just doing all this stuff. He's like, why am I squandering it away with, drugs? But then, of course, he kind of gets better. But he just seemed like one of those good guys out there that was good at everyone. He just seemed like one of the good guys out there in the world, that it's like when he leaves, like, oh, that sucks because, there's some people out there like serial killers or murderers who are out there living till 90, but you have these good people out in the world, living to 20, 26, 30, 28, and you're just like, how's that fair? But, props to his parents too for making this or helping make this movie because that ain't easy. That ain't easy. But Love, Antosha will receive a 4.5 out of 5 blue futons equals at 90%. So why didn't I give it a perfect rating? I mean, it could receive it, but it's just one of those ones where it's like, you watch it, you're like, okay. It's just one of those movies where you watch it, you're like, okay, I understand. I understand everything, and I understand how it's a beautifully shot movie. It's a beautiful movie. Let's put it that way. It's a very beautiful movie. It's hard to give it faults, but it's like, yeah. So let's see what the critics and user scores gave this film. So you have the critics at 98% with 51 of them, and the user scores at 93% with 29 of them. Here's the critic consensus. Using raw materials left behind by a subject, Love, Antosha takes a thoughtful and powerful look at the life and career cut short. Yeah, I mean, that's 100% correct with the correct consensus. And always got a perfect rating. Probably one person. I mean, I enjoyed this movie. It's one of those movies I cannot watch again. I don't know. I just wish it was a short movie. I wish there was a little more insight. And I think maybe the negative was like them showing what he did in his past, and it made me uncomfortable. And I'm trying to think if that made me uncomfortable, what did it make his parents uncomfortable, or like Chris Pine or Sam and Pegg? Like, oh, that's really weird. But no, it's a beautiful movie. It was in theaters for maybe 1 week where I was at. I don't even think it made it in theaters that well. I don't know even like what is the box office total as of today. It doesn't even have anything about it, about box office total. But hey, do you agree with my 90%, the 93, or the 98, right, guys? Yeah. Chase out the Futon, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Futonitopia, you Bootonians. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. But yeah, movies like this make you think about life, and sometimes it gets you depressed, and you're just like, oh, yeah. I guess it's one of those ones where, replay factor, and it's like, can I watch this again? I don't know. Just because what's one of those movies you watch it once, you're like, I understand. I do understand why you made this movie.